And so it has arrived. Hololive's second biggest weekend of the year is upon us. The All For One concert is due to be hosted at Radio City Music Hall, but 5 hours away from New York City is a track here in Watkins Glen International, and this place is going to be hosting the races that will coincide the All For One concert. Welcome everyone back to HoloType International for round 6 of the HoloType International season for 2025. We're here for the 2025 All For One 200 minutes at the Glen. And while these drivers are getting ready to get these cars underway and to get these cars in tip-top shape for the first of the invitational races, of course, there will be 2 races coming up, which will be explaining the format in due course. Let's first take a look into what the track looks like. 5.5 kilometers is the track length, or 3.45 miles, 11 turns in total. Looking at the race distance, we will see if we can go for 46 laps each or 100 minutes. And of course, with 46 laps, we're entitled 46 laps or 100 minutes, so it will be a maximum of 250 kilometers of race distance. It could be shorter, depending on circumstances. We're looking at a lap record. It could be a 1:35.921. We'll see if our drivers are going to be achieving that lap time as we get the qualifying sessions underway soon. And with that being said, let's take a bit of a closer look into how we will format day 1 of the All For One 200 minutes at the Glen, and this is what it looks like. And of course, we have already started the stream. The intros are already in place. By 10 p.m. or rather 10 a.m. Eastern, we will start the proceedings for race 1, the invitational race 1, where we'll be racing the 19 cars that are representing the EN members plus 2 ID and 2 JP members who will be performing in the All For One concert. It will just be a 2-lap invitational, and of course we will just run there for 2 laps, and then we will finish that in a jiffy. And then by 10:15 we will do the race 1 qualifying, where this will be set the grid for the race 1, the main race 1 of the weekend. And of course race 1's results will set the grid for race 2 tomorrow. And once the checker flag ends, this is where we'll end the stream for today. We will continue tomorrow, and hopefully everyone will be able to stay tuned. And with that being said, we also want to highlight the starting lineup for Invitational Race 1. And this is, of course, based on the combined World Series standings. So this is why Leah Kai is ahead of Haziq Yazid, despite Haziq Yazid currently being second in the international standings. But we'll talk about this later, as here are the standings for the international series after round 5, which is the finale, or rather the epilogue will take 5 hours. Of course, Mohammad Reza nearly 100 points over Haziq Yazid after another consistent showing in Twin Ring Motegi. Leah Kai sits 3rd in the Hakkos Bales number 85. Dan Evans and Takeda Adachi make up the top 5. And then we have the first of the Justice cars who have been recently given the new colorized idol outfits. So Evan Kromi will be in 6th place, Anya Milfis Angela Sims 7th, Nichi Michan 8th. And then we got Aziz Mwazif, who will be competing as a guest driver in the invitations, will start 9th. And Morzetta rounds out the top 10. Josh Azari 11th after not having the best of the standalone international races. Will be in 11th standings. Sakura 12th, Luzbeat 13th after outside of his win in Boraram, he has been pretty much invisible. One of the bigger news of this weekend is Urafa de Oliveira swapping places with Ryan Kagawa. Now de Oliveira gets to race for Nerissa with Ryan Kagawa in the Rainy Machine.
Yeah, sure. Try it.
Alright, Corey Comenda starts 15th, it's 15th in the standings, Tawan Bumi 16th, Miyuki 17th, Kyoto Sano 18th, Sven Jensen 19th, Ahmed Elashore 20th, Hinoshtaya and Ryan Kagawa 21st and 22nd, and the 2 other Justice cars in 23rd and 24th. And with that being said, we will now immediately get ourselves ready for the first of the invitational races. And that being said, my name is Mama Shadan Reza in the commentary booth, and alongside me is the clone of the number 4 Mori Calliope driver, Josh Razuri. So, Josh, we're about to get the first of the invitational races underway. What are your thoughts? Oh dear. Oh dear. God damn it. I just wanted to check if my internet is okay. Josh? All right. Sorry, I just muted myself. So, Josh, welcome to the stream. We're about to start race 1. So I want to hear your thoughts.
My thoughts are I just actually came back from a short errand in yeah, Watkins Glen and all for one. I can't believe it's already here.
Well, I will be sharing the same sentiment as you because we are going to be seeing what will be a very interesting race indeed, as we will get the invitational races coming by soon, as we are just going to see if we can reload the skin and have it properly shown up. And yep, so we are gonna get the lineup finally underway as we will essentially start the first of the races coming in for today. So the invitation races, the thoughts for these drivers, since this is merely just an invitational, the drivers mainly just need to calm down and to protect their equipment because because in real life, if they crash their equipment in these invitationals, then they will put themselves in the back foot for the future sessions coming up.
The more important ones.
Yeah, exactly. So we now have the cars now lining up on the grid here in Watkins Glen to start the first of the 4 races that will be hosted around this weekend time. And of course, if you see the starting lineup here, of course, this is based on the world combined standings, which is why you get to see some interesting look here, and by that I mean the standings here, which is why we'll see faces some faces up front where it should be. So anyways, let's take a look into the starting lineup here for the all for one 200 minutes at the Glen Invitational race. And of course, we will be taking a look into the pole sitter, Mohammad Shahid Reza, now starting in pole position after he, of course, won the Split B title for Koseki Bishu. This is where he will start. And speaking of which, we do have a Filipino 2, 3, and 4. Leah Kai starting, or rather Filipina, second, third, and fourth, with Leah Kai starting alongside Shahid Reza on pole position. In the Huckles Bales machine, Monetized starting third for Oro Crony with Josh Azure. In car number 4, starting fourth for Mori Calliope. Hazi Yazid fifth for Sherry Novella with Nichi Michan sixth. First of the 4 Moko twins starting. And then we got Evelyn Kuromi, who also will be debuting the updated colorized outfits here for ERB, as ERB also has the new idol outfits. Now, Tawabomi starts 8th as the second of the 4 Moko twins to start in this race. He will start 8th. Takeda Dachi 9th for Inanomai Inanis, and 10th place Corey Mendes for Takanashi Kiera. Chrono, can you run down the remaining cars on the grid?
Alright. Coming from what?
11th
from
on
10th,
the grid.
right? Yeah. So we have Sano Hiyuta coming in 11th. Yuri de Rafael Oliveira in 12th. Alex Grant coming in for Cecilia in 13th. Sven Jensen in 14th. Enzio Ferrari representing Raura Pantera for 15th. Aziz Muazif representing Risu, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Risu.
And then our Viet friend Sakura Misaki representing Kuregioli. And then our newcomer, Aqua Azuri, stepping in for Ozora Subaru in 18th. And Jeff Rohan in 20th, representing Tokoyami Towa's guest slot.
All right, so we got like 4 cars as guest entries, as I just reminded myself that I forgot to put the logo on the GG Marine number 44. So the start will be slightly delayed, but it won't be too bad, as I'm just going to double check if we have everything set in stone. And so anyways, we are about to start this race anytime soon, so I do want to hear your thoughts coming into this invitational race, other than what I have mentioned earlier.
So, what are indeed my thoughts?
Well,
the course will certainly be interesting, especially given that it's not as powerful. The machinery isn't as powerful as the F1s, but it's
exactly.
certainly a respectable power regardless.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, we are, of course, gonna be checking in. Of course, another question that we'll be talking about is Aqua Azzurri's VTuber racing programs. Force Axolotl already has a few programs spread through the VTuber racing project, but today, the Force Axolotl branch has now opened Suba Racing Team, which is essentially the ARO racing program for Aqua Azzurri, which will cover all Ozora Subaru cars. So and of course, speaking before the race, Aqua Azzurri is very much dead set onto trying to make sure that she has that explosive race that she is aiming for, but we will see how it goes from here. Oh yeah, speaking of which, if you notice what the cars look like, all the cars are using the jacket variant of the livery. As you can see here on the front, this is to mostly reflect the choice of outfit that they will be using later on in the live concert. So with that being said, let's not dilly-dally ourselves too much, as we're about to get the race finally underway. And we have, of course, Muhammad Shazin Reza starting on pole position. Leah Kai in second place. We're about to get underway here for the Invitational Race 1 for the All for One 200 minutes at the Glen. 2 laps of racing is a go. And Shazin Reza has a pretty decent launch into turn 1, trying to defend against Leah Kai. Hits the curb way too hard, and that's going to cause a bit of a jam here. And Shazin Reza now loses the lead to Leah Kai. Everyone survives. Lap 1, right at the first 2 corners. Tawan Bomin and Takeda Adachi losing positions. Corey Jimenez now goes up to 8. We are seeing drivers having very good runs here. Watch out for monetized that are trying to overtake Muhammad Shazin Reza, as Leah Kai leads Shazin Reza second, Zetaro third, Azzurri in fourth, Yazid Micha in fifth and sixth. Then we got some side-by-side battle with Kuromi and Mendez. Booming in ninth, Takeda Adachi in the top 10.
The top 10 is a very illustrious grid, and someone's facing the wrong way, and that will be Jeff Rohan.
Yep, the Tokyo Tower driver not having a good time this season, but at the very least, this will mean that Jeff Rohan will be starting on pole position for the Invitational Race 2 tomorrow, as we now see Enzio Ferrari making his move against Misaki Sakura. Aqua Azzurri is still mired back in 18th place, just watching at the back, seeing what moves she can do, as she can see if she can make a move onto Aziz Muazif. And already Jeff Rohan is on the back foot IRL, if that's going to be the case. But for now, we still have one more lap that we need to deal with, and Leah Kai is about to bring home the opening win, unless someone has to say about it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Rafael Oliveira already trying to make moves here for Nerissa Ravencroft. He's going to go down the inside against Takeda Adachi to put himself in the top 10, but that's way too ambitious for the Nerissa Ravencroft driver, and that sends him and Takeda Adachi off the track. Looks like Rafael Oliveira will be starting alongside Jeff Rohan for race 2 in the front row, as there's more carnage.
Yep, that's a major roof. A major miscalculation from our
And here comes another
friend.
one, Joey Rico Mendes, and that's Leah Kai. Leah Kai has a failure right at the end. That's going to give Shazin Reza the lead. And also Sven Jensen also having engine fail as well. And there's more cars out. We will
Type's
check.
failure would mean Azurid and Zetaro would move one place each.
And what a carnage of an invitational race that has been with only 11 cars remaining. That means 8 cars already out after only 2 laps of racing. Sheldon Reza is gonna go home with this invitational race 1 win. Sheldon Reza has not tasted a win for Kazeki Biju yet in aero competition, and while this may be an invitational and this may not count for official records, Sheldon Reza will take this win anyway as it crosses the final corner. He's gonna bring home a win for the Sparkling Gem. Sheldon Reza is gonna cross the line to win the Invitational Race 1 of the All for One 200 minutes and the Glen.
Sheldon Reza would be taking pole very brightly, much like his Oshi Biju.
Yep. And with that being said, let's take a look into the results here. Of course, Sheldon Reza takes this win for this Invitational Race 1. The height may be at a disadvantage for Bibu, but Sheldon Reza more than makes up for it for his size and pace. But we'll talk about that later, as Monozetaro, of course, finishes second for Orochrony. This will mean Sheldon Reza will start 19th in the Invitational Race 2. Zetaro will start 18th in Race 2. Joshua Zurich, after finishing third this time, will start in 17th, and then it will be 16th onwards as we progress on the grid. Joshua Zurich finishes third, Hazuki Yazid 4th, Nichi Michan 5th, Corey Comendes 6th with Tawan Bumin 7th, Enzo Ferrari in 8th place with Misaki Sakura 9th, and Aziz Mwazif rounding out the top 10. And then we got Takeda Adachi being the last of the finishers. We'll check onto what happened to the DNFers: Diakai, Evelyn Kurobe, Rafael de Oliveira, Ryota Sano, Alex Grant, Sven Jensen, Aquazuri, and Jeff Rohan. Alright, so we will check.
I did hear that.
Alright, so here's what happened. Oh no! Oh no! I think it is a isolated case though. And guess who? CC and GG. Oh no, that's Aquazuri. But that didn't really explain though about what happened to Asano. And if you want to know what did happen to Asano, here is what happened. This is also, he is in front of the CC cars, mind you. So you will see how it works here.
Oh.
Talk about an artificer moment. And also, if actually I just noticed though, there was actually contact right at the back.
Yep, smoke and fire, as they say.
Alright, so we will need to check back. So this is Evelyn Kurobe. And then she comes not exactly off in the plume of smoke. Oh yeah, that's Sven Jensen. That is Sven Jensen coming off in the plume of smoke. That explains why he is retired. Aqua Azuri is out. Liakai has her engine failure as well. And as you can see here,
I did see some cars slowing down on the B-roll coming into this race.
Yep, and also, yeah. So also we also want to point out about the crash here between Takeda Adachi and Rafael de Oliveira. So here we're gonna do the onboard from de Oliveira. The sister curve way too hard, understeered into Takeda Adachi, and the slam into the turn 1 wall sent him out. That explains what happened to de Oliveira. So okay, I think we should have enough dwelling into the replay. I just wanted to save the replay just in case, and boom. Okay.
Oh yeah, as I was gonna say,
Oh wait, speaking
height
of,
in motorsport is not that much of a disadvantage because it saves weight.
well, if you put it that way, but then again, there are uses for it in other areas. But we'll of course talk about that later. So with that being said, we are just going to get ourselves ready for the main race, as we are going to see if everything is in order. So with the first invitational race done, we are going to immediately get ourselves into the qualifying for the main race. Hopefully everyone has been entertained of the invitational racing action so far. Of course, Aquazuri didn't take the DNF to basically she didn't take the DNF lightly, saying that yeah, she hasn't been enjoying it. But then again, it's mainly invitational race. This race doesn't mainly count for points. So if anything, you should just chin up and focus on the big events coming up. And of course, the big events coming up is the qualifying for the 2 races of this weekend. Of course, we have qualification for race 1 coming up, and then race 1, which will decide the grid for race 2 tomorrow. But for now, let's get ourselves into qualifying, well, officially at least, for the All for One 200 minutes at the Glen.
Okay then, so that race was just a spar. Am I getting that right?
Yep, exactly. And of course, here's a bit of a spanner in the works, because this round actually counts as a main round in the HoloType International Series. We will see the other ID class cards also participating. So that's why we also have the likes of Angela Sim for Anya Melfissa racing here on the grid, as well as Hinoshi Taiyo and other ID class drivers like Hanari Miyuki for Kobo, Ryan Kagawa for Ryan Kagawa for Reine, etc, etc, etc.
Yeah, I have to get used to that because for so long I know that Nerissa is
Kagawa.
Ryan Kagawa.
But of course he's been
After
swapped
the
by...
event of
Yeah, because he's been swapped by Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. But if you do
finale.
follow Yuri Rafael, especially in the socials, he has been very much focused more on ERB, Raura, especially Nerissa Ravencroft. So it just feels right to swap the seats between Kagawa and de Oliveira to better reflect the passion for both of these drivers.
Absolutely.
And speaking of which, while all of you guys have been spoiled by the All for One music video and the individual dances from the individual members, how about we'll give you this, an onboard lap at Watkins Glen in a HoloType machine. And of course we are going to go on board to who else but your Rafa de Oliveira. So,
Alright.
So I'll be taking commentary here for the onboards here. So of course we are coming into turns 10 and turn 11. Of course you need to carry a lot of speed into turn 11 to start your flying lap here, because this is a good stretch of strength here as you're coming into turn 1. To start the lap as well, use the 100-yard marker to put yourself into a decent position. Turn 1, arc yourself in very well, don't hit the curves too hard, and then into turns 2, 3, and 4, the S's, of course, flat out, no issues there. You can go reach nearly 300 kilometers an hour into the inner loop in this backstretch. Oh, who hits the curve very aggressively though. De Oliveira really trying to push, and then into the outer loop. You can carry also a lot of speed, try to go for the late apex here for a great run into the chute here. You may just tap a little bit on the brakes to slow down on the corner and get some grip in.
Realize the joke.
Yep. And then into
I just realized the joke.
Yep.
Remember how you mentioned Apex?
Yeah.
I think Oli kinda likes that.
Yep. Yep. So anyways, get a good run from the toe into the boot section here. One of the shorter runs into the straights here, and then into the heel section. Downshift into second gear, and then into turn 9 when you're now back into the NASCAR circuit. And now into turn 10 and turn 11. And on turn 10 you may also try to go flat out. These cars can take it. And then into the final turn. Get a good exit from the final turn to really get yourself a run here into the main straight. And that should be a lap here in Watkins Glen for this qualifying session. And boom! Look at who's on pole.
Now that is a redemption.
And speaking of redemption, look who's in second place. Aqua Azuri may only race as a guest here, but remember, she's here to essentially leave a mark here in aero competitions, running the Shuba racing team. That, of course, this team has actually acquired all 3 of the Ozora Subaru cars here in the competition for use for the team, and now we get to see the Shuba RT's potential. Look at, I am just very much excited to see where she will end up. And speaking of which, talk about Ryuta Sano being a chaotic driver, all things considered, of course, winning in his debut race for GG Marine. Speaking of which, Angel Sims now takes pole position for Anya Melfissa, and I just want to check if the internet's okay, but I think the internet's okay. But anyways, De Oliveira is currently lining up alongside Sims on the pole position spot as drivers now complete their laps. Azuri will at least stay in 3rd, Michan in 4th. Ryuta Sano, though, as if you follow Ryuta Sano's career up to this point, you know his career has been pretty chaotic. Of course, he won in the Indonesia Grand Prix, the race in Sentul, where he races for GG Marine on his debut. And where did that lap come from? 135, 177. And speaking of which, Hazik Yazid's now out of the track on a darkened car. I am not sure why that's the case, but I'm not sure why the textures won't load for Yazid. I might think...
Yeah, I did have that same problem.
Where the textures just won't load. Speaking of which...
Yeah, with the Matsuri car.
But if you look at here, the textures do load. So I think it is mostly just a small bug on our end. But anyways, Aquazuri is now on pole position on her first competitive race in aero competitions, replacing... oh, there's a bit of a traffic thing, and if you want to know what happened, that is Enzio Ferrari having trouble with his car, and I think he has been involved in a collision. If you see his car, we'll see that there's a lot of damage on the left side. Enzo Ferrari, of course, is going to qualify in 17th at least, but we'll see if he can continue like this. Nichi Michan will still stay in 4th. De Oliveira already making a good mark for Nerissa Ravencroft. Also, Emanuela Shore in 5th place for Ella. Adachi in 6th, Evan 7th, Asano 8th, Rohan 9th, and Hazik Yazid in the top 10 despite having a bit of an off.
And I don't think there's much time. Like, that's only 1 lap over there.
And speaking of which, Shadireza, who won the Invitational Race 1, will start 21st. But of course, if you remember the story of the tortoise and the hare,
I remember it very fondly.
and speaking of which, if I'm not mistaken, there are 2 drivers who have yet to make a lap. I'm not seeing Leah Kai starting, making a lap here, so I think Leah Kai and Corey Jimenez have issue with their cars, so they will most likely start at the back of the grid. So that will explain things. Alright, so we are now coming into the final 2 minutes of qualifying. Shadireza has slowly gained time over his competitors, and right now trying to use the space that he has been given. And of course, the only car in front is Jeff Rohan, who is going to start in 9th for Toa, and Monetized has improved to get him to 10th. So Aquazuri will most likely have a very good chance to start on pole position on her debut competitive race in aero competitions, while Shadireza is going to see if he can find time, and he does. He goes up to 7th. Kozeki Beaches' height may be at a disadvantage at times, but Shadireza can go high. Speaking of which, Chrono, just wanted to check though if Chrono is here or not.
Alive.
But yeah,
I'm just gaming. in the background.
I see. Speaking of which, final minute of this qualifying session. It will be the only qualifying session of this weekend because race 2 will be decided by race 1 results, and race 2's results will determine the points. And of course, JP class drivers can steal point positions away from the in-class cars, so that will be something to pay attention. Miyuki, meanwhile, will start in 20th. Blue Speed, 21st. Kago in the Rainer machine will start 22nd at this rate. Sven Jensen down in 23rd. Others Mosif down in 24th. Yoshitayo in 17th. Joshua Zurich, meanwhile, his struggles in the international series continues as he is now going to be set to qualify in the midfield.
Not a good sesh for Azurid.
And speaking of which, speaking of a session, the time has now ticked down to 0. We will be checking the last drivers who will be setting their laps. We'll be seeing here Jeff Rohan's lap has been impeded somewhat by Muhammad Shahid Reza, who now decides to go to the pits. Ahmed El-Ashor, meanwhile, is most likely on a hot lap. We'll see if he can get that pole position. And we'll see where Ahmed El-Ashor goes, and that's a very decent lap, but does not beat his own personal best. Speaking of which, Alex Gwen in the refreshed Cecilia number 34, despite having some right side damage, we'll see if he can find some time. He beats Misaki Sakura. He now qualifies in 13th. Meanwhile, we got Hyuta Asano trying to see if he can find some time. The answer is going to be no. Speaking of which, here's the trackside decors if you are interested. Your Rafael de Oliveira is going to cross the line. And will he find some time? The answer is going to be no. Yoshitayo next to cross the line. Nothing. And Aquazuri also is going to be set to score this pole position as a guest driver in New York. Oh, yes, it goes up to 50 as well. And with that being said, that's the grid settled.
You know what they say with New York? You can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Well, and that is going to be the sentiment for Aqua Azuri. So let's congratulate Aqua Azuri for her pole position efforts here in the race 1 of the all-for-one Watkins Glen 200 minutes race. So let's move on already into the starting lineup here for race 1 of the session. So we are gonna move on into the grid order here. So for race 1, Aqua Azuri will start on pole position for Ozura Subaru, and then alongside her will be Angela Sims for Anya Belfista. Third place is, of course, the likes of Rafael de Oliveira, now having his options renewed as the new Narissa Ravencroft number 76 driver. Then we got Anichi Michan in 4th place for Mokako. Kyla Kowalska starts 5th for Kyla Kowalska with 6th place. Nina Mayananis is Takeda Adachi starting in 6th place. And then we've got Koseki Beaches as Muhammad Shahid Reza, the championship leader, will start in 7th alongside Dan Evans, who have also been a decent driver in HoloType International so far, already won at Sebring in 8th. 9th place, Yutasana for Gigi Murin will start alongside Jeff Rohan in car number 10 for Takayami Toa in 10th place. And then we got 11th place Oro Crony and Monazeta starting in 11th place, with Hazi Gyazi and Sharon Novello starting in 12th place. And then 13th place is Cecilia Emma-Green and Alex Grant. So for 14th onwards, let's move on to Joshua for Josh.
Okay, the Ollie champion Sakura Misaki will be. Wait, where's
14th.
the list?
14th, so this is 14th place.
Oh, there we go. And then Sven Jensen, our aristocrat, will be on 15th. Azurid, our deadbeat, will be on 16th. Tawan Boomin, representing the second discard, in 17th. Hino Chitayo for the Munapix in 18th. And then Enzio Ferrari in 19th for the Chattini. Then the Blood Flame Kingdom will be at 20th with Evelyn Koromi leading the charge. The Kobokers are in 21st, led by Miyuki Hanaori. Formula Holo F-Holo champion Javier Luzbi is in quite a dismal position at 22nd for Zeta. Then Ryan Kagawa would be now leading the Meraki in 23rd. Then Aziz Moaze for Ayudarisu. Then Liakai for the Bretts. And Corey Rico Mendez rounding up the rear for the KFP.
Well, thank you, Josh, for the introductions for basically the entire field here. Very nice to see that the cars are already lining up for their performance here in Watkins Glen. It's still the same state in New York, even though it's not downtown, it's not Radio City Music Hall. These drivers are still gonna be gunning for a very good performance here in the All for One 200 minutes at the Glen. So without further ado, let's now get this race finally underway. We now have 26 cars lining up on the grid. Aquazuri on pole position for race 1 of the All for One 200 minutes at the Glen. Who's gonna lead the turn 1? And we are off. And there's a great launch there from Angela Sims, as we are going to shift the cameras here, and it looks like there are some issues further back. Angela Sims has actually beaten Aquazuri at the start. We'll see if there's more cars at start, and already we have Sven Jensen being spun off by Tawan Bumin, and also we have Leah Kai having issues at the back. So we already have first of our casualties here in this race, as Angela Sims leads the field over Azuri. Nishimicha now going side by side with Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. And we will now continue on to see there's more contact. That is Hazik Yazid and Alex Grant also out of this race as it stands. So there's more contact here as Aziz Moaze goes a bit off. So we now have, I think, we've already lost 4 cars. I think, no, 3 cars already in the first lap. Corey Rico Mendez is out. Sven Jensen is also out. Hazik Yaz is also out on lap 1.
Man, that was messy.
See, of course, this is Watkins Glen. You can never expect the expected. And of course here we have, of course, 45 more laps of this race 1 to deal with. With that being said, right now Angela Sims is going to be handing, is going to be pretty comfortable in this lead. Talk about a distant change of fortune though, because remember, Leah Kai is currently sitting in 22nd, and if you know the blood between the two, it is a bit of a bad blood. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship between the two, Leah Kai and Angela Sims. And of course, Leah Kai does get a bit infuriated when her rival Angela Sims goes up. Speaking of which, Ryan Kagawa and Hanari Miyuki, that's a bit messy from the 2 ID class cars. We will check the replay as to what happened to Ryan Kagawa and Hanari Miyuki, because that was messy, as you mentioned, and it just doesn't stop there.
And they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming.
Yep. So here's what happened. So Ryan Kagawa was trying to make a move on Hanari Miyuki, so he already has his nose up front. But as you can see, he just hit the curb way too hard and got collected by Hanari Miyuki. So I think no penalties will be given, and because this is judged, the student will judge this as Ryan Kagawa being over ambitious into turn 1. And Enzo Ferrari's now off as well.
Too much pizza.
And also 2 little jetpacks, if you will. So here's what happened to Enzo Ferrari. And if you want to know what happened, he tries to go side by side with Azurit.
By the way, speaking of pizza, there were some rumors back in the days of lore that apparently Ford tried to fatten the Ferrari mechanics so that they can crawl under their prototypes.
I guess, but it does get a bit counterproductive. But Well, if you wanna
No, it was
something.
Ford trying to. It was Ford sending the pizzas to Ferrari so that the Ferrari mechanics would get too fat to crawl under
Under the car
the
to
P3 cars
get
at
the
the
mechanic
time.
and then to get the things fixed. That is an interesting conspiracy theory, to say the least. But anyways, let's not backtrack ourselves in
Yeah.
this race. Well, what is going to be something to note about is that Enzo Ferrari will start 22nd for race 2. Sven Jensen will start last. Sorry, second last. Hazi Gianti will start last. Ryan Kaga will start 23rd at this point, but we'll check the final results later. We are now into lap 3 of this race, and right now, there's a lot of drama that we need to talk about. But it's only at the start, because we need to talk about the strategies, the pit stop strategies that will be coming up. And speaking of which, as to get a look into the race field monitor, looks like everyone will be pitting in the mid stages of this race based on the race field monitor. Some drivers will be pitting a bit earlier, like Leah Kai and Aziz Muazif. Not sure if that will work for them, but I think the one-stop strategy will be the strategy to go. Oh, and Angela Sims! Angela Sims is off! Here's what happened to Angela Sims. Here's what happened to Angela Sims. I think she has had an engine failure at the back straight. We'll see for sure what happened. She keeps it on the track. Comes into the outer chute. We'll see where it comes from. Oh wait, wrong car. So here's Angela Sims. The angles were not a bit helpful. Wait. Sorry. I just wanted to double check here what happened to Angela Sims, because Angela Sims I think has already retired due to car failure. So already we have another twist in this race. So now Aqua Azzurri now leads this race.
Again, if I may add.
Right now the driver out of this race.
And that will be Adachi! One of the 3 myths in this race.
And if you want to know what happened to Adachi, I think this is as simple as, look at this though. Because you see what happened to Adachi here, coming into the chute. Oh, just slam into the outside wall though. If you see the onboard onto Adachi.
Somebody overtook it, that's for sure.
Yep, understeered into the outside of the chute, hits the wall, and that will be Adachi out of this race. He will start no higher than 18th in this race. Well, you can consider that this race as a qualification race, all things considered, as these cars are just having a chaotic time here. I mean, if you look back into the past EN concert races, like Connect the World and Breaking Dimensions, it all has been defined by chaos. And I actually do mean by that, as Zetaro pushes Shazrin Reza off. That was a bit messy from Zetaro. He overcooked the curb. Shazrin Reza isn't going to be happy about this, because now Dan Evans is going to be looking in the back of Shazrin Reza.
Damn.
And then Evans trying to line up a move.
Here are out for blood.
And then comes another driver. Another driver is out of the track, because I noticed that's actually Dan Evans, who overshot the curb, and that's really Rafael de Oliveira as well.
Holy shit! What is even happening?
Looks like driver's hitting the curb way too hard. Let's see what happened to Rafael de Oliveira. Hits the curb too hard, loses the car, and gets off the track. Tries to get back, but the engine stalled. And at the same time, Dan Evans also makes the same error. Here's what happened to Dan Evans. As you can see, he's trying to make a move against Shazrin, but trying to get back, but straddled himself onto the curb and went off. Everyone's dropping like flies.
Yeah, somehow the The same malevolent energy that has been affecting VTRP races has now made its way to the ARO.
And Ame Elashore having troubles on his car because I think he overcooked it and he is gonna go off and he is gonna cause a bit of a nuisance here to the rest of the field as he is, I think has a lot of damage on his car. It might be grounds for a red flag if he continues to cause a lot of issues. Because right now you see here there's a lot of right side damage on that number 58, and he is gonna force himself out of the way at the very least, as everyone is gonna be trying to move him out of the way. As Azuri now pulls away from the field, 135.451. Ame Elashore not having the race that he has been enjoying so far. Fueled by Lotte Power, Aqua Azuri. And right now she is currently on the charge. And speaking of which, remember the drivers who started at the back, like Leah Kai? She's in 13th.
And 12th now even, according to the tower.
And speaking of which,
Wait, how did Azura die though?
Oh yeah, if you want to know what happened to the other drivers, like for example, Tawan Bumin, and we do want to apologize on how we missed Azurid. We will see why, and I think it's as simple as
Also overcooked it.
and you know who else overcooked it?
And he refused to return.
And you know who also overcooked it?
Oh, what?
So that is essentially more cars out of this race. Enzo Ferrari, Angela Sims also out of this race. We got already 11 cars out of this first race. It's essentially a qualification race. So all things considered, these essentially drivers have not much to worry about, assuming that they can get their cars fixed for race 2 tomorrow, because race 2 will be based on the race 1 results. So if you win race 1, you will start on pole position for race 2. And right now there is not much pressure between for those who have already retired, because this race doesn't actually award points. This is mostly just a qualification race. It's all about who gets to survive the longest and who gets to essentially be there when the chips are down.
Excellent points right there. Adak.
And speaking of which, Asano now sparring with his fellow gremlin sort of chaotic ENV tuber, Shagan Reza, as Hinochi Tayo becomes the first driver to come into the scheduled pit stops. Not sure why I decided to make the pits onto. Oh no! Shagan Reza's went off! Oh dear, if you want to know what happened to Shazrin, this is why. Dang it. What the bleep. Not like this, man. And that is Shadow Reza out due to an engine failure. So Shadow Reza will be on the back foot for the second race.
Oh dear me, I think I've heard that phrase way too much in this race.
But speaking of which, we do have some returning faces now. Ahmed El Lashor has already come to the pits to have his car serviced, so his car is now somewhat serviceable, but nope, his car is still pretty much an issue. But we will have to think about red flagging this race, and but at least as El Ashore is giving space to the other cars who will be allowed themselves to make the pass here. So I think we will do a red flag, I think, just to essentially fix a bit of this issue.
Have a fresh start.
Not exactly a fresh start. So we will take a look into the basically the score as of 6 laps. We will exclude every of the drivers who have essentially been out of this race, and Hanare Miyuki was temporarily off, but that's mostly because she got stuck by Ahmed El Ashore. So I think we will decide to red flag this race. So red flagged. So 6 laps. There's just too much chaos. So we will take a look into the basically the score line by the time Aqua Azuri starts lap 6. So Shadow Reza might actually have a bit of a reprieve because actually Shazrin actually what hasn't been into a DNF while Aqua Azuri started lap 6. So we will take a look into the basically the scoring at the moment, and as it stands right now, we will do a bit of a red flagging session. We will shorten the race distance as well. Race distance shortened to 30 laps to go. Okay, so we are going to save this replay first. So whoever retired in the first 5 laps, whoever retired in before lap 6 will not take the restart. So we're just going to for lap 6. For the retirement for lap 6 will not take the start. So we are just going to do a bit of a reshuffle as to the grid of basically the grid of drivers that will be restarting this race. So as it stands right now, Aqua Azuri will restart on pole position. So good stuff for her. Nichi Michan, who has survived this carnage so far, will start in second. Mono Zetaro will start third. For Oro Crony, Shadow Reza will start in fourth. He will get a bit of a reprieve because of the timely red flag. So he has time to fix the car, and he has been allowed to take the restart. Hyuta Asano will restart in fifth. For Gigi Murin, with Jeff Rohan 6th. For Tokoyami Toa, and then we got Evelyn Kuromi 7th for ERB, and then ERB, and then let me just check. Misaki Sakura will also take the restart for Crazy Ollie. And then 9th place will be Hanari Miyuki for Kobo Kanairu. And then 10th place will be Hinochi Tayo. 11th place will be Aziz Muazif. And then Alex Grant will be restarting in 12th place. And just wanted to check back. Alex Grant will restart their team. Javier Lusby, the veteran, will restart in 14th place. Ahmed El Ashore will not take the restart. So we will do a bit of a count here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Wazif. Oh yeah, I forgot. Leah Kai will also restart this race as he will start behind Aziz Wazif. Alex Grant 13th. Javier Lusby 12th. Javier Lusby 14th, and then 15th. And then 15th on back, they will not count. They will not take the restart because they have essentially retired before the period. And Ahmed El Ashore will not take the restart as well, as his car is essentially too damaged. So we are
And
going.
if I'm remembering correct, he was the catalyst for the red flag, right?
Yeah, he's the catalyst for the red flag. His car didn't teleport back into the pits, and the car was essentially, it has been a hazard on the track. So Ahmed El Ashore will not take the restart. And also, I do want to point out about the essentially, hang on, I just wanted to double check on to the replay as well, because I do want to double check onto the drivers who won't be taking the restart. We will confirm back the points as we speak. So while the drivers are waiting for the red flag, We will check on who will be in 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. So just wanted to give a bit of a rundown. 3 cars were out on lap 1. Sven Jensen, Ryan Kagawa, and I believe Hazik Yazid. So we do know for sure is that Sven Jensen will be restarting in 25th. And then we will double check onto this one. So Hazik Yazid will be starting in last place for race 2 by virtue of him being the first driver to is officially DNF. And then Corey Rico Mendes will also be out. And then after that, after Corey Rico Mendes, it is Ryan Kagawa in 23rd. And then Tawan Bumin who will be starting 22nd next race. Tawan Bumin will start 21st. Enzio Ferrari will be starting in 22nd as the other DNF car. And then after that, it will be Joshua Zuri 20th. Oh dear. And then 19th will be Takeda Adachi. And then 18th will be Angela Sims after having a promising start in this race. And then she has some engine failure to contend with. And after Angela Sims, it will be Yuri Rafael de Oliveira in 17th. Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. Let me just this one. And then Dan Evans will start in 16th. And then we have, of course, Ahmed El Ashor in 15th place. So these are your DNFers before the lap 5.
Bunker.
So these are your DNFers before the red flag. Just wanted to. Okay, so just wanted to update. So here are your DNS before the red flag. Okay, so 15th, Amel Ashore, Dan Evans 16th, Rafael de Oliveira 17th, Angela Sims 18th, Takeda Dachi 19th, Azuri 20th, Tom Bobin 21st, Enzo Ferrari 22nd, Ryan Kagawa 23rd, Corey Rico Mendes 24th, Sven Jensen 25th, and Hazik Yazid in 26th. So I actually just wanted to check though on what happened to Corey Rico Mendes, and I think he is an issue of. So yeah, so you may want to know what happened to Corey Rico Mendes before we will take the restart. Here is what happened. Oh, talk about being bumped and piled. That actually allowed Alex Grant back onto the track, so Alex Grant can thank Corey Rico Mendes for taking the bullets. But anyways, let's not delve ourselves too much into the first of this one. So because of the racing issues here, we will force a lowered aggression level. All of these drivers will be told to ease off the racing action to prevent more crashes. So right now, the drivers have been told to just remain calm in the remaining 30 laps of this invitational race. Again, we apologize for the very, very lengthy delay. But we now have the cars lined back up for the race. Aquazuri, of course, will resume the race on pole position as what she did in the first start. So, Chrono, before we get into the restart, restarting this race, what are your thoughts?
I just want the race to go as planned.
Well, I feel you as well. But now we have our remaining 14 cars now lining up in this race. With that being said, We are gonna go racing once again. We are gonna go we're gonna go with our 30 remaining contenders here, or rather 40 remaining contenders here for 30 laps here for this race 1 of the All for One 200 minutes at the Glen. We are back underway. Akozeri once again loses out almost to Nichi Michan this time. Akozeri needs to be careful on the curbs. Very aggressive there. Sends actually Nichi Michan out of the race. That was very, very bold there from Azuri to defend her lead. And holy smokes, Nichi Michan's not happy about that.
Nobody will, I guarantee.
And speaking of which, Reza is going to go out for Hyuta Asano, but we'll see which drivers are going to be a bit messy there into the inner loop. And I think everyone's gone okay so far, but watch out for... Oh, that's a massive slam between Alex Grant once again involved in a crash. He's going to get a bit concussed, but I think he should be okay. But that was insane. That was an insane crash for Alex Grant, the automaton driver. Absolutely feeling the brunt of the accident. Of course, going side by side with Leah Kai. Oosh. But anyways, we got more side by side action here. Jeff Rohan and Mawasha Reza, formerly Gen mates in Gen 4, now racing for position here in Watkins Glen. Asha Reza now defends his spot. He now stays in 4th.
So our current order: Azuri Zetaro, Asano, Shazran Reza, Rohan, Kuromi, Sakura, Miyuki, Tayo, Muzif, Kai, Luzbi, Grant, and Michan in that order.
Oh, there's a big flip there from Hanari Miyuki and Misaki Sakura. As you mentioned, they both went side by side, and that is Hanari Miyuki on her roof. Misaki Sakura is going to try to get herself back, but that was very ambitious from Miyuki, and what a flip that was!
That was a crash between two Southeast Asians.
2 Indonesians to be exact, as we now see... Oh, that's another car off!
No.
That's Hinoshi Tayo! Also hitting the curb way too hard, and looking like that it might be another DNF.
Remember?
Yeah, we noticed that, but at least Hinoshi Tayo will try to continue with a damaged car. So it's all about survival in this race. Everyone has been and may have been told to calm down, but right now they're not convincing the stewards.
Yeah. Man, oh man.
Well, if you expect this race to deliver, well, I hope this race delivers. It's not in the way that we expected, but we hope you enjoy it anyway. But anyways, just wanted to remind everyone that this All for One 200 minutes at the Glen is basically running in tandem with the All for One concert, which will be hosted this weekend. So if you want to get some streaming tickets, you can do so by scanning the QR code on the bottom right of your screen, so that you can get access to watch your favorite EN class members and some INJP members performing on stage at Radio City Music Hall.
This is pretty much the Holofest of EN.
Well, yeah, exactly. Hololive English already has their concert, or already have their concert. But I'll be saying this for real. The EN and the ID members will be doing twice the work of the JP members, assuming that the JP members were not being called up as guests. Because the EN and ID members, they get to be in 2 major concerts at the very least. One is the March Fest, and then there's the EN Fest in August, and then we are gonna have the Chromatic Future Hololive Indonesia concert that will be hosted in, I believe, in Banten, just off of Jakarta. So basically, each of the fans will be essentially be eating good.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, Alice Ben is doing a pretty good comeback though.
Of a wider reach.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of reaches, Alex Brent is doing a pretty good comeback though, to come back into 9th place after that big shunt.
Not to be confused with Hunt the Shunt.
So Hyota Sano now has the fastest lap of the race, 1:35. We'll check back on what the lap time was for him, but damn, it was an insane lap though from the GG Marine driver. But not before Misaki Sakura responsible with 1:34.875. Asano's lap was a 1:35.836, but Misaki Sakura's back in this race. It's crazy. And now she's off for blood.
Chasing and hunting. And this time, she's coming for blood.
Yeah, back from the dead, of course. And speaking of which, Jeff Rohan is now off, and we'll see what happened. Tokoyami Toa earlier this weekend, where it was talking about jet lag and got pretty tired. So we'll see what happened to Jeff Rohan. Hits the cup way too hard, loses the rear end, and stalls the car. Well, that's what happened to Jeff Rohan as he now joins Hanari Miyuki in the DNF section for the restart. So 12 cars now remain. That means half of the entire field has been expunged.
Purged even.
Yeah, so right now we still have much of this race to go, despite the incidents that have happened as of late. Speaking of which, Nishimi-chan and Misaki Sakura now go side by side between each other as Michan now defends 10th place. And also, nice to see the viewers tuning in droves. We are seeing 600 viewers, even though it is that much of a number. We do appreciate those numbers regardless. Remember, if you like the stream, you can always drop a like, and if you do want to see more aero racing, you can hit the subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss any of these races, hit the notification bell. But we're essentially beating the bush around here. As Aqua Zura's gap before the red flag, it was a bit untouchable. But now here comes a bit of a test though from Mono Zetaro, a pretty seasoned though Oro Crony driver, trying to make time stop for Azuri.
A test from the Warden of Times champion.
Oh, watch out though, Asano might think of a move around the outside. You saw the exit from the inner loop to the outer loop. And right now, Monozetaro, and it's Misaki Sakura a bit off once again, going side by side with Nishimi-chan. If you want to see what happened to Sakura, here is what happened. Looks like it's mostly just an individual hit to the curb, way too hard for her, and just losing the rear, trying to catch the car, overcorrected it, but manages to resume herself back onto the track, no problem. Alright, so we now have 4 laps of this restarted race back underway. We will see if we'll see how this race goes from here. So Aquazuri is currently very much blocking her defense at the moment. The Ozone Smart team really needed a bit of a refresher after Rim Olgor's can I say disappointment in the Formula Hololive and HoloType scene, despite winning at Suzuka in Hololive GP3, because Rim Olgor failed to qualify for the World CEO and JP CEO in the HoloType series and didn't qualify for the CEO Cup in Formula Hololive Japan either. So Aqua Azuri, trying to bring some new breath of fresh air for the Ozora Subaru team, is going to try to do something. And right now, Zetaro still piling on the pressure though onto Azuri's lead. And right now this is a battle for the top 3. And I remember though about Crony and Gigi's interaction when Gigi essentially lagged herself and sounded glitchy to Crony. And speaking of which, Monotaro is going to try to make a move down the inside onto Azuri. But Azuri is having a very great run though off the toe section of the track. Manages to stay ahead for now, but Monotaro of course needs to focus onto Hyuta Asano, who is just going to focus on this defending his lead. And here comes the pit stops. 6 laps complete. We'll see how the 3 of the leading cars will fare. How will Shadow Reza also think of this strategy move? And it looks to me that everyone will be pitting at around the same time, except Shadow Reza, who will be staying up for the next 2 laps. We'll see if the undercut strategy or the overcut strategy will be the strategy of the day. And right now, Shadow Reza and Evelyn Kuromi is gonna be your 2 leaders here. Kuromi is gonna be feeling that huzzah as she now puts an ERB car into the top 2. More drivers already coming into the pits as well. Joining Azuri, Zentaro, and Asano will be Sakura, Muazif, Tayo, Rohan, and Miyuki. So they will have lengthy pit stops here to fill their cars up until the end of this race. Azuri stays out in the lead, Zentaro in second, Asano in third. So the order remains almost unchanged. Muazif stays out, gets back out in a net 4th, I think. Sakura, technically having a car fix, is now in 5th. Tayo will be the last of the cars to get out. Remember, Jeff Rohan and Hanara Miyuki are already out of this race. Alright, so we'll see how these cars will respond to this strategy here. We are looking into the remaining cars in this race. So Shadow Reza, now being somewhat unleashed back on the track, was going to set a 136, 145, slightly faster than Evelyn Kuromi. Liakai now comes into the pits, but we'll see how Shadow Reza's first sectors go. And we really can't tell from here. Alright, Joshua Zurid is just vibing around in the commentary booth, and Shadow Reza now goes side by side with Kuromi. Shadow Reza trying to really defend his lead at the moment, trying to bring home this race 1 win. And if you do want to know of if this race will count towards the records or not, it will not, because this race does not award points. It's mostly a qualification race. Early pistol strategies for the win for Aquazuri, and she's thinking of a undercut strategy. But remember, Leah Kai has already beaten Aquazuri by staying a lap later. This is because the warm-up on the tires were a bit slow for those who pitted early, and with Leah Kai taking advantage of this, she essentially stays ahead. She essentially goes ahead. Speaking of which, Azuri and that's Hyuta Asano going off. And we'll see if Asano can get back onto the track. It looks like it was a side-by-side action with I think Monozetaro. They were side-by-side. Shadow now comes into the pits. We'll see what happened to Hyuta Asano. So he went side by side with Zetaro, makes contact. Another incident into the inner loop. But for now, it is going to be Azuri now in second behind Leah Kai. In another one of these chaotic races in ARO competitions, Leah Kai now leads it for Hako's Bales, the embodiment of chaos. We'll see how will hold up. And remember, if Leah Kai can stay out like this, then there's a very good chance that Shadow Reza will be taking this race lead away, because he is actually pretty close though to the top 3, Azuri, Zetaro, and Asano by the time they started pitting. So Shadow Reza is gonna get out Look at the gap between Leah Kai and Sheldon Reza. Sheldon Reza will take this race lead, no problem. And speaking of which, take a look. Alex Grant is gonna get out in a potential second place. Bluesby is gonna be taking a lot of positions as well. For the Artificer battle, it now goes into the way of the Automaton. And Sheldon Reza now takes this net race lead. Alex Grant in second. Leah Kai third. Oh man, this is going to be some interesting action here. As Azuri now tries to defend against Monozetaro. Goes off a bit, but manages to keep the car under control. Akozuri showing the defensive class though. For a defensive, she's schooling them in the defense. For a debut driver, for a debutant here in AR competition, she's doing very well. But she hits the wall! Why did we jinx that? And she hits the... Oh no, she gets hit by Aziz Mwazi. And now she's got damage. And I think the one at that looks like she is gonna have some issues here. The stewards are going to be seeing if they're going to have to red flag this or not. It was so promising for Azuri, but we'll see if Azuri can continue on. Right now the goal for Azuri is that she will not be making any more pit stops, but if she can at least keep the car on a semi-respectable car, if she can keep it semi-respectable as far as lap times are concerned, she will be able to just keep on going and not get black flagged. If she can hang on just like that, she will try to at least salvage a top 10 start in this for race 2. Talk about Roster of Fortune there. 1 minute you're leading your pack, and then the other minute you're losing the lead, and then the next one, out, boom, you're in the wall or something. That's just how cruel sometimes racing can be. And speaking of which, we do want to talk about Evelyn Kuromi and Nishi Michan. And Alex Grant will have to make yet another pit stop. Jeff Rohan already out of this race. Hunter Ryuki already out of this race. So it looks to me, oh, and Alex Grant is already out. What happened here? So there's a bit of a lifeline though, at the very least, for Akozuri as far as qualifying positions are concerned. Here's what happened to Alex Grant. Yep, it's just a massive understeer into entering the boot, entering the chute, and that's him out of this race. So that's that. So Sharaza now has Evelyn Kuromi and Ichimi-chan to focus. He needs to lock the beat in if he wants to have the shot to win race 1 and to give him the best opportunity in race 2. So we have more retirements here. Alex Grant joins Jeff Rohan and Hunter Ryuki to retire from this race following the restart. Evelyn Kuromi will most likely take this race lead away from Sheldon Reza. Sheldon Reza, meanwhile, has the warmer tires, so he might just be able to catch up to Kuromi. Nishi Michan stays in for a long while. Evelyn Kuromi is going to be good until the rest of this race. We still have 20 laps to go. Alright, so now we got Evelyn Kuromi now back up to speed. Evelyn Kuromi now takes the lead of race 1 of the all-for-one 200 minutes at the Glen. It's still interesting sight to see here. Meanwhile, Asano and Luzby go side by side. The Gremlin against the Agent. Asano does manage to defend for now. Sakura, meanwhile, does a very good job to come back from mid-pack. You want to know what happened to Chrono, and I think this is where the issue starts to come though. Aqua Azuri is about to cause some trouble there to these cars, but I think she does have the pace still. And now Lisby trying to use Aqua Zuri as a pick to make it pass on to Asano. Zuri doing a pretty decent job to stay in 7th. Asano's going to try to ride his way around the outside to take the place back. It's a great racing though, if you consider lap cars as an equation as well. Aquazuri still keeping a minimum speed, so she will not be subject to a red flag. Misaki Sakura, meanwhile, trying to make a move onto Javier Luzbi, but she needs to be careful. The stewards have already told them to be careful, so that is just something to pay attention to. Oh yeah, just wanted to address to the Twitch audience. So for those who are watching on Twitch, hello, we have a viewer tuning in. So nice to see you tuning into some Hololive racing. This is the All for One 200 minutes at the Glen. Race 1, by the way. Race 2 will be tomorrow. Race 1 here will decide the grid for race 2. Race 2 will be the race that will award you points. Yuta Asano, meanwhile, will try to make a move onto Aqua Zuri, who is still in this race though, but down in 7th. So right now we are just going to keep on racing here. It's still pretty consistent here, as we are just gonna keep on this race here. Speaking of which, I mean, you gotta have to admire though Aqua Zuri's effort so far. Absolutely racing tooth and nail for Ozora Subaru, as does all the other VTubers. But now Hyuta Asano is gonna see if he can make a move down the inside while also keeping himself safe. But look at Misaki Sakura though, trying to make a move down the inside. Just needs to be very careful on the curb. And again, great defensive move though from Javier Luzbi. You saw a move there from Sakura from the 11 remaining cars. So we are just going to notice here that Hyuta Asano is already out of this race. He's stuck. Oh dear. So the Gremlins has now gone on to Asano, and here's what happened. I don't know if this is I think this is just Asano being overzealous though, trying to catch the car and slam it into the wall. I think that's Hyuta Asano out of this race, so he will most likely start in 11th in the race 2. Want to keep track of the running order for the remaining races here. Well, Aqua Zuri talking about how axolotls are just pretty much they will come back hunting because their limbs off. So Azuri absolutely trying to keep on going here despite the setback that he's had. You saw her defensive driving against Asano. She did do what she needed to do. She did give Asano some space. But Asano, overzealous on the curbs, literally put himself under the spin. That is what caused him to retire. So, Hanari Miyuki will be starting in 14th place. Jeff Rohan will be starting in 13th. 12th place will be Alex Grant. I just realized something! We will get an Autofister Row 6! Autofister fans rejoice! Hyuta Asano and Alex Grant will be starting alongside each other in the 6th row for race 2. Speaking of which, Aqua Zuri is going to have some visibility issues on the right side as Misaki Sakura is going to go hunt for positions. As you can see here, already causing troubles though for Azuri, but Azuri places her car in the right place at the right time to cause some headaches. In figure which, we got Luzby now ahead of Aqua Azuri. I think she has went off somewhere. And if you want to know what happened to Azuri, here is what happened. So you can see here Azuri going on board here, and she another hit into the wall there from Azuri, but still manages to keep her car back on the track. So more setbacks for her as she's now down in 9th place, about to be overtaken by Inochitayo. Remaining EN class cars: Evelyn Kuromi, Shazan Reza, Leah Kai, Monozetaro, Nichi Michan. So only 5 EN class cars remain in this race. Inochitayo trying to make a move around the outside of Aqua Azuri. They're still gonna go side by side, but not for long. Inochitayo has to tuck in behind, but will try to make a move back on the inside into turn 1. That's overzealous on the curb there for Tayo. Azuri hangs on. Despite having a pretty beat up car, she's gonna continue to press on. Ichimi-chan continuing to proceed, repping the 4 Moko twins, despite one of them already out of this race. Power moving out before the first red flag, down in 21st. Still staying in 2nd place. He knows that while he may not win race 1, that will still mean a front row start for race 2. And based on this, the trends here, all but one of the race start attempts here in the Watkins Glen track has resulted in the 2nd place driver taking the lead. So Shannon is actually going to be thinking pretty much ahead, actually. 4 dimensions ahead, somewhat. So Azuri absolutely frustrated about the things that's going on. She's gonna make it merciless. She's gonna be merciless to anyone that goes in her way, as Tayo tries to get herself back into 9th place. And as for battles here, Monozetaro against Leah Kai. Let's see how it works on his end. Which we've already passed this halfway stage, of course, of the shortened race. We were supposed to run 46 laps, but we have now dropped it to 36 due to the red flag that's been going on. Yoshitayo has already made the pass onto Aqua Azuri, so Aqua Azuri can just stick around in 10th place because she's technically last of the remaining 10 cars. Meanwhile, Monozetaro trying to make his way against Leah Kai for 3rd place. Kai already causing some trouble, and remember Leah Kai did start at the back of the field alongside Corey Cavendish, started 25th, now up into 3rd. What a comeback that spin! While Evelyn Kuromi continuing to give Hololive justice, a lot of hope, with Kuromi currently leading this race by 6 seconds over veteran Muhammad Shazrin Reza. And just wanted to check on things just in case. Right now everyone is doing okay at the moment. Kuromi doing a very good job though. Just just a bit of a fun fact though, Kuromi does also fit into the ERB mold very well. A bit of a fun fact about Kuromi, Kuromi actually holds dual nationality. She is essentially both British and Indonesian. Of course, she does carry the Indonesian flag in the aero competition, but she does have British blood, and that absolutely helps in her representation with ERB as the sole English? Can we say English? British Hololive VTuber. I'm not sure if he has been able to catch up to Kuromi's insane pace, as we are now coming into a calm rhythm so far. Was staying in 5th, Nichimi-chan, one of the last remaining EN class runners. Hopefully everyone is enjoying this weekend so far in New York. If you are tuning in from New York, from the Radio City Music Hall, please do let me know. I would love to see some of the attending fans for the All for One concert also watching the stream. I will be very excited. Oh, and that's Monozetaro going off. I noticed that Monozetaro has hit the wall, trying to make the pass on to Liakai, and now is under pressure from Aziz Wazif and Nichimi-chan. Wazif now goes down the inside to dispatch. But as you see here, just like Crony, Zetaro is a bit stubborn on trying to give up his position. Zetaro is him. I think he believes. Another switch up positions here with Javier Luzbi and Hinoshi Taya going side by side. Javier Luzbi now goes up into 8th place. Shannaraza continuing to lose touch over Evelyn Kuromi, who not only showcased her consistency but her ability to run very quick. She has been a revelation for the Rosarians throughout this aero competition. Already won twice in the Formula Hololive International season of previous, and now it's going to be a case of Alright, just wanted to see here what's going on. The race is not calming down. Nichimi-chan, though, meanwhile, is chasing onto Aziz Muazif for the for 5th place. This will decide on which drivers stay on which positions. Already we have positions outside the top 10 already settled, 11 to 26. That's because they have already DNF'd. And of course we have already mentioned that the Auto Fister, of course, if you want to talk about the matchups that we might be seeing here, we will be seeing an Auto Fister 6 row for race 2. So that will be something to pay attention to as well. Oh, both drivers hitting the curbs very aggressively. Alright, so coming into the latter stages of this race, we are now coming into lap 20. around 11 laps to go before we prematurely have to end race 1. Alright, so Evelyn Cromie's gap to Southern has now opened up to 10.5 seconds. Cromie remains unstoppable at the moment, but here comes here's Aquazuri though. As Evelyn Cromie approaches the chute, Aquazuri is now into turns 10 and turn 11, so there will be no issue of flat cars. Azuri's car is pretty wounded at the moment, but she can at least have a bit of pride that she will be listed as a pole sitter, because we will be considering the distances for both races 1 and 2. We will not consider the winner of race 1 or the pole sitter for race, who is also going to be the pole sitter for race 2. We will count the pole sitter for race 1, and that is at least Aquazuri. So she can have at least a bit of pride though for putting her name on the map immediately after getting into her first competitive ARO race. Consolation, at least given the circumstances. Aquazuri having this very strong desire to win, because not having that just means that she's going to be soured. Speaking of which, Tayo and Luzby go side by side once again. That's mostly Javi and Luzby hitting the wall, I believe, and just wanted to confirm to you, and yes, that is the case. Here's on board Javi and Luzby. It's the wall. It doesn't damage the suspension that much, I believe, and that is, I think, a good thing, because that will allow Luzby to continue on. Azuri might just be able to steal a position away from Luzby if things don't go Luzby's way. And speaking of which, for those who are still watching, remember, I just want to remind everyone that this is the All for One 200 Minutes at the Glen. The race that coincides with the All for One concert, Hololive English's third concert. So there's a QR code in the bottom right of your screen if you want to get some streaming tickets. So again, admirable things for Azuri. And
oh crap, I was muted all along. Damn it.
Ouch. Never mind that. We'll see what happened to Aziz Muazif and this one. And I think here's why. Here's what happened to both Muazif and Michan.
Michan hit too much curve, Muazif
hit too much of Michan. So, and that is essentially gonna be them starting 9th and 10th.
Damn. Badly damaged glass.
And here's DC Michan's on board.
That's how you know stuff has hit the fan.
Well, it's hit the fan, and it's hit the fan like crazy. But anywho, forgot I turned off the preview, so just wanted to share it again.
By the way, it's showing stream has ended on my end.
Yeah. I am fixing that right now. And we are back in this race this time. And just wanted to remind everyone that Shadreza has lost a bit of good amount to Evelyn Kuromi. And speaking of which, Aquazuri will now have at least 2 extra positions to deal with for race 2. So Aquazuri, though, as we mentioned, she has been very resilient, though, talking about the qualities of an axe that'll chop off a limb and it'll grow, just grow back. Azuri is just staying on in this race stubbornly, knowing that if she can complete more laps while everyone continues to fall down by the wayside, she can have a better chance to qualify further up for race 2, which is the race that essentially is the point scoring race for the international field.
Well, all these drivers that are not with us anymore will have their work cut out for them.
To a degree, yes. As you can see here, Aquazuri having a bit of a hairy moment there at the inner loop. And just wanted to double check onto this one. Aquazuri continues to understeer almost into the wall. And you can see here the amount of damage that number 48 has sustained. Speaking of which, we are now down to 4 EN class cars remaining in race 1, and they are all inside the top 4. So we will see an EN 1, 2, 3, 4 at least coming into the All for One concert. That is something to at least smile about. Speaking of which, if we want to see any more battles, the closest one we might expect will be Liakai versus Mohammad Shazrin Reza. This is for 2nd place. We will see the Rat versus the Pebble. You can see here Shazrin just tries to get his line though, but not just to stay ahead for now. He does need to be wary though about Liakai's advancements.
Okay, so 24 of 30, and our current order will be Kuromi, Shazrin Breza, Kai, Zetaro, Sakura, Taiyo, Luzbi, and Azuri.
At least the ones that are remaining in this race, Michi-chan onwards, is already retired from this race. Their positions,
and why I did not mention, because they're already effectively out of this race.
Yeah, essentially, and the place they DNF will be the place they will start. So Nichimi-chan will start 9th, Mwazif 10th, Asano 11th, Grant 12th, Rohan 13th, Miyuki in 14th. The race directors are not going to be keen on throwing yet another red flag because we are now so late into this race.
I don't think we will have a red flag.
Well, at least
but
because Aqua's
I'll give you this. 8 drivers means we're dangerously close, if we're in the VTRP that is, to having this red flag permanently.
Yeah, I mean, when there's 2 little cars remaining, I mean, you harken back to the 2024 Suzuka Formula Hololive International round where the race also had to be canceled due to too many incidents, where by the time we almost reached halfway, only like 5 to 6 cars remaining, and the race had to be red flag, no points were scored, and everyone was asked to forget about it and move on. So, oh, and it's Saki Sakura!
In the wall!
And already teleported, so Sakura will...
to the pit, which means game over.
Game over for Sakura.
Zomrad.
Yeah, for the Zomrad, and if you want to know what happened, here's the onboard. Once again, it's an understeer.
Yeah. Very much. What is it with that turn anyway? Is
It's
it
a bit of a messy corner. Sometimes you carry too much speed, and then suddenly the grip loses, and suddenly you understeer. And here is a shot of the outside cam.
Yeah. That turn kind of reminds me of that very tight hairpin in Apricot Hill from the GT games, where it's off from the... Yeah,
So Misaki Sakura
and that
will.
time you come from a straightaway, which naturally means speed.
And it is very much deceptive as well, so you need to get it right and don't overshoot it. But anyways, that also just means Akozuri will have one more position to feed off of. So she's now in 7th place, so that is a bit of a plus for her. Usbi 6, Tayo in 5th, Monozatoro staying in 4th place, Leah Kai 3rd, trying to chase Shazard Reza. Evelyn Kuromi should have almost zero problems here, but remember that Kuromi is already coming into the boot section of the track. Azuri is already into the final corner, so as far as lap cars are concerned, you can see here that there will be an issue, and what is going to be an issue is keeping the car in a straight line, because after both hits into the wall, look at how much steering that that Azuri needs to put just to keep that car pointed in a straight line.
Pointed the right way.
I mean, look at how bent steering is.
I can see it, but what I can see is the various cracks on the windshield.
Yeah, I mean, IRL, it would have been a black and orange flag. Mandatory pit stop. More drivers bowing down to the rookie, but then again, they essentially crashed out. And essentially, Al-Azuri is counted as a rookie at least for this race and for the rest of the season, as Azuri is going to try to get herself back on the ropes.
Refresh me, Adak, when will be his proper debut?
This is actually a property a competitive race. So, the invitational race, Aquazuri.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. When's the next Formula Holo JP?
If you want to talk about Formula Holo Japan, if you do want to know the dates, well, you're actually in luck because it's actually next week.
Interesting.
So, oh, and Shadid Reza! Shadid Reza has hit the wall! My goodness, what happened there? So, and I think here's why. I think this is a case of Shadid Reza actually understeering into the wall here, and as the way he hit it, it was very hard.
I think there's a hit from the rear there. May I see the chase cam?
For a chase cam, just the guys on wall will do enough.
Curb.
And
Curb.
Yeah, and here's the helicopter cam. Just want to confirm to you that there was no hit from Leah Kai. So, and Shutters are trying to rejoin, and that is him out. So, oh man, that was a massive hit into the wall, and that is Shutters Reza guaranteeing his spot in 7th.
One more out of the picture, and we should probably consider red flagging this.
But I think, given... Oh, Shitayo actually going off as well, hits the wall. Almost gets caught up by Javier Lusby there.
Speaking of dangerously coming close to a red flag, and a perma.
Well, we do have a few more laps to go, but I think the stewards will think about toughening themselves out of these final few laps there. So we do have around 2.5 laps to go of race 1 that we need to settle. Evelyn Kuromi, though, gotta give props to her. She just kept the car on the track. And just wanted to address to the people on Twitch. If you're viewing on Twitch, then hopefully you're all doing fine. I'd love to see all of you doing fine as well. And so, yeah. So, we are now coming into the final stages of race 1 of the 200 minutes of the Glen. Of course, all for one, 200 minutes at the Glen. Hinochi, oh, and that's Javier Luzmi hitting the wall very aggressively, and that's going to give the position to Hinochi Tayo.
But thankfully he's still alive. For the sake of this race.
For the sake of this race, he is still back on, but I think he is going to be pretty slow. And yes, he is very, very slow. You want to see how bent the steering is. He's trying to get the car back onto the track, but he's just having issues. But fortunately, given that there's not many cars left, we should be able to have this race stay on the green. And that is Javier Luzmi almost stopping it to a standstill. We'll see if there will be a forced teleportation going, but I think he does keep minimum speed to at least keep himself going. But anyways, we are coming into the conclusion of this race. Liakai is in second after starting 25th in race 1. Zetaro in third. Tayo in fourth. Azuri in fifth.
Yeah, there's our VTRP red flag rule of that if there are only 5 people in the track, then that'll be a red flag.
And right now Javier Luzmi is trying to stubbornly keep himself onto the track, but we are not using VTRP rules. It will be at the discretion of the stewards in the aero, and the discretion here for the stewards is that the race must keep going as Evelyn Cromie is about to start the final lap of race 1 of the all-for-one 200 minutes at the Glen. What do you think of this race so far, Chrono?
That's what I think.
Well, alongside indeed, and of course Azuri is already out of this race before the first red flag, very, very early into this race. And now Evelyn Cromie is going to, at the very least, bring home this win despite having a very much depleted field of 6 cars remaining in this race. Javier Luzmi just continuing on as usual, causing a bit of issues for Hinochi Tayo, but that really doesn't matter a lot though, as there are only 5 cars still at a pretty much decent racing speed. And speaking of which, Evelyn Cromie, representing the Rosarians, has seen a lot of success in Formula Hololive International from the past season. 2 wins to her name for ERB, and now Evelyn Cromie will take the win for race 1, and she will take pole position for race 2 as well. Take a bow though for Evelyn Cromie, continuing to make this work for the Rosarians. Huzzah for ERB and the Rosarians, and also Evelyn Cromie, as they take the win in race 1 of the all-for-one 200 minutes at the Glen.
Finally glad that was over with.
And Javier Luzmi now coming into the pits to finally have his race finally done. Liakai in second. Great comeback from her. Monosetaro survives, is mailing to stay in third. Meanwhile, we still have Hinochi Tayo and Aquazuri trying to formalize proceedings.
Yeah, I'm still streaming.
And speaking of which, Hidenochi Taiyo just continuing to proceed as usual, also doing a very good job of surviving the carnage. Stays up
Well,
in
just
4 despite having
for
a damaged
now.
car on her own. The Munafiks, at the very least, getting to enjoy a certain part. Meanwhile, Azuri still trying to keep her car going to at least finish this race in 5th place. This will be a decent position from her. So for the sake of recording, Javier Lusby will be listed as a finisher, but despite him finishing 1 lap down. So let's take a look into the race results, shall we? So from the restarted field, it will be Evelyn
Yeah.
Karomi winning this race in race 1 of the All for One 200 minutes at the Glen. Leah Kai finishes 2nd, Monozetaro 3rd, Nishitayo 4th, with Aquazuri, the debutant, in 5th. 6th place goes to Javier Lusby. First, the DNFers after the restart, Bawasha Reza for Koseki Biju, Misaki Sakura 8th for Kuriji Aldi, Asis Mosif 9 for Ayu Narisu with 10th place, Nichimi-chan for Mokoko Bisgard. We will have a Order Fister, row 6 with Hyota Sano for Gigi Marine and Alex Grant for Cecilia Immigreen. They will start alongside each other on row 6. Jeff Rohan will start on row 7 alongside Hanare Miyuki as the 13th place and 14th place drivers respectively.
Go on.
And as we're about to take a look into the drivers finishing 15th, I'm back. Ella Shore 15th, Dan Evans 16th, Yuri Rafael de Oliveira 17th, Angela Sims 18th, Takeda Dashi 19th, Joshua Zera 20th, and then we got 21st, Tawan Bumin, Enzio Ferrari 22nd, and then 23rd will be Ryan Kagawa, Corey Mendes in 24th, and then 25th will be Sven Jensen, and Hazik Yazid will be the last driver who will be starting last. So with that being said, we are just going to end the stream here, as we are just going to write home the results here. So Kuromi takes this win over Leah Kai, and then Mono Zetaro, and then 4th place is Hinochi Taiyo. Aquazuri doing a very good job though as a debutant. Will start in 5th for race 2, and then Javier Lusby will be the last of the finishers technically, but he did go into the pit stop right at the end, so he will be kind of considered as 1 lap down. All right. So we are just going to see if we can put the results in the YouTube chat as archives. So anyways, all right. So with that being said, that's all of the results that we can show you right now. Apologies if we have to cut this race short. But we hope everyone has enjoyed this race thoroughly from start to finish. And speaking of which, since you made it this far, if you are interested to tune into the All for One concert, there's the QR code on the top right of your screen. As we are, this race technically is a mirror to day 1, but of course it's not really. But we are releasing it in celebration of the All for One concert coming up. So if you do have the resources to buy some streaming tickets, at least to watch the All for One concert, do scan the QR code on the top right of your screen. We would love to have your support. Again, we're saying this as a fan channel, so we hope everyone can support the the EN members who are about to perform in Radio City Music Hall. And that is about it. So with that being said, I'm Mama Shazareza in the commentary booth, and alongside me is Joshua Zuri. We'll see you tomorrow for these race 2 and invitational race 2 of the All for One 200 minutes at the Glen, where we will actually be awarding points. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.